All right, what's up, fellas? Time for Wake Up Mintzy Tuesday morning. The weather's beautiful. I'm so excited about the beautiful weather. It's finally come to Chicago. Are we out of the woods? Maybe so. Coming to you from the Barstool Chicago office. We got the dude wipes out. We're drinking some Stella Blue coffee. It's a beautiful morning. I'm happy to be alive, as always. Vibes are good. We're about to hit May. Ton of fun stuff going on this week. Right after the yak today, the werewolf return on Stool Stream. Super excited about that. Really, man, I've only played it a couple times, but what a fun game. So join us right after the yak for that. Tonight, Tate doing a Barstool After Dark stream with Beef, like chipping in free throws and three-pointers. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm sure it'll be hell of a good time. Kentucky Derby week. Heck yeah, we're watching it up at the DraftKings Wrigleyville Sports Zone on Saturday. Don't forget to DraftKings horse has a really cool promotion. I'm actually going to deposit and check that out this week. You should too, with the Derby on Saturday. Super excited for that, and we got like a big Arizona trip Sunday to Tuesday for the first ever DraftKings gala, which I'm excited about. So the boys are going to be dressed up nice out in Arizona. So a bunch of stuff as always going on at Barstool. NFL draft in the rear of your mirror. We're joined by Tyler Moody this morning from Louisiana. We're going to talk some draft and a whole bunch of sports going on. What's up, Mr. Moody? Good morning. How we doing?
Yeah, what's up, brother? Good morning. Good morning. How we doing over there?
Man, I'm doing pretty damn good. Shout out to the Barstool Classic yesterday. Went out to Royal Melbourne. Had a really good time out there. About an hour north of here. Always fun, man. Barstool Classic, just such a fun event. They do 25 of them a year. Got to see Trent out there, Za and Chaps, and a bunch of Barstool people. Felt kind of bad for the golfers. Windy day, tough course. Would have not been the easiest up there, but had a lot of fun getting to go out to one of those. Hadn't done that since Louisiana one a couple of years ago. Got some sun a little bit. Maybe that's a metaphor because summer's coming. So, yeah, in good spirits. A whole lot of sports to get to. NFL draft now in the rearview mirror. A lot of stuff there. NBA playoffs, NHL, college and pro baseball. I mean, dude, it's a great time to be alive. I'm excited about the Derby, too. So, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Weather's definitely warming up down here. We've had a bunch of, storms and stuff coming through, but we're good to go. It'll be in the 90s this week, I think. So, summer's here.
That's what's brutal about growing up in Louisiana. You only get you get this fake spring for 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah. And then it just goes to 90 or 100. It's just miserable. But luckily for me, I live in Chicago now where that's not a serious problem. So we got the good weather coming and it's here. I'm ready. Our pool's open in a few weeks, man. Ready to hit the pool, show off my new summer body that we've been working on. You know what I'm saying, Moody?
Yeah, you got to make sure you invite the interns up there as well.
Yeah, we will not be doing that. That was a fake rumor last year for sure. I assure you that will not be happening. All right, ton of stuff to get into. I don't even know where to start. You know what? I'm going to start with one quick college baseball thing. It's big news. Mississippi State firing national championship winning coach Chris Lemonis yesterday. The Bulldogs have not had I get they're not having the year they wanted to have. They're 7-14 in the SEC. They're right on the bubble, slightly out of the NCAA tournament. I'm not totally shocked they're moving on from Lemonis. I am shocked it happened during the regular season because you're talking about a guy that won their only national championship in school history. They had 2 really bad years after it, but last year bounced back, made a regional final. We're top 20, top 25 preseason this year. Certainly have underperformed, but it's not like they're horrible. They're still on the bubble. So them making this move in the season and going with an interim, I got to think they're doing it because they're trying to target some big coaches and get a jump in the coaching staff search. But I think it's a little disrespectful. Lemonis brought them their only national title. They had a good year last year. They're still fighting on the bubble. It's not like right now they'd be slightly out, but it's not necessarily over. I don't know. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. But they're obviously thinking maybe they can get a jump on their next guy. Kyle Peterson, friend of the program, Mr. Omaha, he was disgusted by it. He was just like, how disrespectful is this to them not give him the end of the year after he won the only national title in school history only a few years ago. Well, as a baseball fan, what do you think of it?
Yeah, we're in this era now where if you don't get it done, they're willing to get rid of you. And a lot of times it comes down to the supporters and donors. Was there pressure from some of the big givers to the program that wanted to see them move on from him? That's probably what it comes down to in the end, because there's a lot of money being exchanged, even in college baseball. And those donors need to be happy if they weren't happy with the current situation. And they're being loud about it. Sometimes that can get a coach fired. I would assume that played a big piece in it. And you're probably right about the coaching search as well. They want to go ahead and move on. But, man, I do think it's terrible timing. Wait a few weeks. If you continue to lose and it looks like you're not going to be in the tournament, maybe you make that move. But like you said, you had a chance to, still make the NCAA tournament. It's a team that could get hot. You know what I mean? Like to say that they couldn't make a run down the stretch is foolish. Probably jumped the gun a little bit, but it happens.
Yeah, a lot of Ole Miss fans showing the Governor's Cup highlight from Tuesday because that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back when Ole Miss came back and beat them. And Jackson State lost 2 out of 3 at Auburn. But that's just a big move because, like I said, dude won a national title. That ain't no joke. And I thought that was a wild move. But State, he was the 9th highest paid coach in the SEC. You got to think they're going to throw big, big money at someone, see what happens. But, all right, let's I'm going to run through a couple other sports things, and let's get to the NFL draft breakdown and also some fantasy with it. All right, NBA playoffs, Golden State beat the Rockets 109-106. That's now 3-1 Golden State. Moody, you're 22-1. You all excited?
I'm a little bit excited about it. I don't have a ton on there. It's like $40 to win 880, but I wouldn't be mad about it. You know what I mean? I just needed some kind of sweat. I felt like Golden State was a great option. I'm just such a Steph Curry believer, man. What a stud. Didn't have his best game last night, obviously, but did enough. Their defense played well, and here they are up 3-1. They're the kind of team you don't see blowing 3 straight because of just their, how they are fundamentally, and of course their experience. So you got to feel pretty good right now if you're Golden State better that you're at least getting out of this round.
Yeah, the thing with Golden State through the years is they're funny. They'll randomly throw some games and lose by 30 or 40. I wouldn't be shocked with them going back to Houston if they just get completely wiped out Game 5 and then they just show up Game 6 and win at home because they've done that through the years. And I'm actually going to go with the weird play. I might go Houston alternate line minus 12 in Game 5 because I've seen Golden State do this where they just come out and throw games and lose by 40. It's like a weird thing they do. But even with that, though, I think this is over. I don't think Houston can come back from 3-1 down against Golden State. Some other Western Conference series, man. This Lakers T-Wolf stuff, wild series. And Anthony Edwards, dude, what an alpha, dude. He just taking it to LeBron, playing physical to LeBron. He's not scared of him, And they pull out Game 4, and now this thing is 3-1, and the T-Wolves looking to close out the Lakers. And, boy, what a disappointment that would be for the Lakers after making the Luka trade if they don't get out of the first round. Do you think the Lakers have a chance to still come back, or is this thing over?
I do think they have a chance to come back because of LeBron's experience. I'm generally a LeBron hater. I do like to see him lose, but to deny that he's the kind of guy with Luka by his side that could make a run is foolish. But right now, man, Anthony Edwards, so much confidence. They're just, like you said, they're taking the fight to the Lakers. They're the one delivering the punches. They're the one holding the center of the cage. And it's what the series is right now. If LeBron and them want to get back in this, they're going to start fighting back in a way.
Yeah, but the T-Wolves, I love the T-Wolves' attitude. They kind of remind me of an old school 90s NBA team. They play physical. They get in your face. Edwards is just a super alpha. I saw somebody comparison on Twitter that this Edwards-LeBron thing reminds them of the 90s NBA playoffs a little bit because NBA's gotten a little softer and you don't see all that as much. And Edwards seems like a just throwback alpha dog. And the thing with him too, he was number 1 pick. He can jump out the gym. Dude, he led the NBA in threes made and shot 40%. This dude can literally do everything. And the T-Wolves made the Western Conference Finals last year. Kind of had a slow start to this year, but everybody forgot about him. But man, dangerous. So curious to see very much what happens in Game 5 there. The other one's Nuggets-Clippers Game 5 tonight. How about this series, man? 2-2, the Nuggets. Did you see the Big Cat Stephen Shea thing, that buzzer beater?
I did see the Shea buzzer beater. I saw that he had put that out. Or I saw it after the fact that he put it out. But great play on Stephen Shea's part. Obviously, Big Cat. He needed to get right with Big Cat because he'd been handing him some losers here lately. That's a pretty good way to get right at 30.
Well, hitting a 30-1 buzzer beater. What a random bet, too. There will be a buzzer beater. I will say this, though. As random as it looks, all the games have been really close. So I actually like it. If the games are all down to the wire, that ups the odds. But Big Cat at $3K to win $90K on it. So back in the good grade. Just when he thought he was out, Big Cat back in on Shea. 2-2. Who the hell's going to win this series, man? It just feels like it's going 7.
It feels like it's going 7. Two good teams, both of them led by a couple of stars. Yeah, what a really good game. Good series, I mean.
No doubt. And the Thunder closed out the Grizzlies already in 4. They await the winner of this Clippers-Nuggets series. Great spot for the Thunder watching the Clippers and Nuggets beat each other up and go 7-2. But Golden State thing, I think, looks live because they get the winner. If they win, they get the winner of the Lakers T-Wolves. So, I think it's certainly very, very alive. And Draymond Green's still playing just elite D. It's crazy, man. You got Steph 37, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond at 35 just still doing the damn thing.
I am worried about the athleticism of OKC if those two teams were to meet up in the conference championship because, as good as Golden State looks, they're not quite as athletic. I don't think anybody's as athletic as Oklahoma City. And I worry about OKC getting out and running on them, especially off some Steph misses and stuff like that. So if Golden State wants to win the West, they have to be so good in that series. Not saying it's not possible, but I feel like that's a really bad matchup for them.
Yeah, but I do like the spot that they had the Lakers or T-Wolves thing next round.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No, and then on the Eastern Conference, running through them real quick, the Cavs beat the Heat by like 800 last night. I mean, that thing's over. I mean, that's just crazy. Celtics Magic game 5 tonight. Celtics looking to close it out. They should. The Pacers are up 3-1 on the Bucks now. Man, I feel terrible for Damian Lillard. God,
Me
man.
too.
Man, he had that blood clot. You sometimes see this. Have you noticed this with athletes after they come off a big injury and hadn't been playing? You'll sometimes see another one. And he tore his Achilles, but he hadn't been playing for months because the blood clot, and maybe his joints and stuff weren't quite in as good enough shape kind of thing. But, man, just so sad for Lillard. Lillard's such a warrior, and he had the blood clot thing was so unfortunate. He obviously wanted to play with his guys, came back. Now he's out for next year, and the Pacers are going to win this series. But what begs the question, I think Giannis is on the way out now. And I've been hearing a lot of stuff that the Thunder have a lot of money, and look out for the Thunder to go after Giannis. And if that happens, dear God.
Whew, what a team that would be. I'll be interested to see if Giannis leaves the Bucks. I remember at one point he said something about wanting to be a Buck for life. But money changes things, situations change things. And man, I feel so bad for Damian Lillard. What a gamer. A dude that just shows up and puts his heart on the line. You know what I mean? He's one of those leave it all out there type guys. It really reminds me of the Kevin Durant injury whenever he blew it out when he was with OKC. So he was dealing with a knee at the time, I think. Missed a few games, came back, immediately blew out the Achilles. Feels very similar to that.
Yeah, man, just tough break. And then finally the last one, Pistons down 3-1 against New York. New York trying to close it out. The Karl-Anthony Towns shots he hit late in Game 4 just blew my mind, dude. I mean, if you're a Detroit fan, you just got to be throwing your hands up. Because, I mean, this series has been so hard-fought, so competitive. Should be 2-2. And now Detroit down 3-1. It's tough. But Celtics-Knicks second round will be great for the NBA.
Yeah, no, it will. And just, a lot of credit to Karl-Anthony Towns because he was catching a lot of crap for a while. You know what I mean? He was an easy person to hate on, but he's gone to New York and he's carried them. I mean, he's become their star, and, a lot of credit to him because he's a gamer for sure, and I don't think he quite gets the credit he deserves.
Yeah, and then NHL playoffs continue to roll on. Last night I watched the NHL playoffs more and more every year, and last night I'm watching the Tampa Bay Florida, Game 4. Tampa Bay's up 2-1 with 4 minutes left, about to make it 2-2. Florida just scores 3 goals in 2 minutes, Moody, and they scored 2 in like 11 seconds. And now, all of a sudden, just like that, it's 3-1 Florida. This series probably over. Stars all over the Avalanche last night to go up 3-2. That's been a super hard-fought back-and-forth series. But NHL playoffs still really fun. That Kings-Oilers series is just like the Kings keep getting big leads. The Oilers keep coming back. That thing's now 2-2. All the games are just shootouts because the Oilers don't have a goalie and they score like crazy. That one's a lot of fun. But, yeah, and then I noticed a thing last night. Before the Stars-Avalanche played, all 4 Western Conference series were 2-2. I mean, you got to love the NHL. Dude, the playoffs are just riveting. So good. Caps up 3-1 on the Montreal, looking to close it out. I don't know if you saw any of the content of PFT going to Montreal. He said that, like, I saw a lot of it. He said the Montreal arena, loudest he's ever been in sports, louder than Death Valley on a Saturday night. Just insane how much they love the hockey up in Canada. He said it was just nuts, man.
That's a big statement to say that it's wilder than Death Valley on a Saturday night. But I've never been there, can't compare them. I mean, these hockey fans, man, they're so diehard, and it really is awesome. That the playoff atmosphere is incredible. I haven't quite tapped in on it just yet, but every single year when I do see games, it's always good. I am paying attention to the Stars score though. I mean, great for them to go ahead and get a lead in this series. Hopefully they can close it out and make a little run here. I mean, they've got some talent, man. They're a scrappy team. It'd be awesome to see them make a run.
Have you ever been to a Stars game?
I've been to 2 Stars games, yeah.
Good
atmosphere, don't get me wrong, but definitely not Death Valley on a Saturday night. I promise.
Be fun. You should sneak over for a playoff game if the tickets are reasonable.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, catch the Rangers, watch them lose a little bit because right now my Rangers they're struggling. But that would be great to get over there, see a Stars playoff game, catch a Rangers game the next day. Yeah, I think you're actually onto something.
Speak of the Rangers, I got to ask about this play they lost on Sunday. They literally lost on literally. I've never seen anything like that. That's what you see in like 9-year-old Little League ball.
Yes, it's exactly what it was. If you told me that sports were rigged and you said that, like, hey, this is one of the plays that makes me think sports is rigged, like the Rangers literally just gave the game away. It was awful. They just throw 2 balls away, allow a run on a ball that didn't go further than 10 feet.
I mean,
it's ridiculous. The Rangers are in a hole right now. They cannot hit the baseball. They're pitching out of their minds, which is the crazy part about it. I mean, they've brought Tyler Mahle over, and he's been sensational. All their pitchers are throwing well. Every game right now for the Rangers is 2-0, 2-1, 3-2. But the bats can't wake up, and when the bats aren't hitting, you need to be so good defensively. And the Rangers have been pretty good, but, man, a moment like that just really stands out.
Yeah, that was crazy. A lot of excitement about the Cubs here still, too, in first in the NL Central. And the thing with the Cubs right now, they've played all the NL West teams all year. They've played the hardest schedule so far in baseball. And so people are super, super pumped about it. I know they lost Sunday night to the Phillies, but I've never been in Chicago in a summer when the Cubs are in first. And I just feel like the vibes are going to be immaculate for that. Can't wait to see. All right, a lot of NFL draft stuff to hit on. Obviously, the biggest story was the Shedeur fall to the 5th round to Cleveland. That whole thing was just bizarre. I mean, it kind of felt like to me there was an indictment of Deion and Shedeur's attitude in the process. The clip that you were talking about all year with Cam Ward and Shedeur resurfaced and went viral. And Cam Ward's just like, I want to be known as an American football player.
Yeah, I talked about, and it was so many things. I talked about that clip every single time I talked about Shedeur, and I saw there's multiple that they had put out. It's not just that one clip; it's multiple clips that they had put out. Cam Ward was in everything that they were doing: the mindset, the drills, the footwork, obviously the arm strength. I mean, Cam was zipping it out there, hitting dots every single time. From what I was seeing from these workouts that they were putting out. And then just the way the attitudes between the two, you could see the difference. And I can't imagine that NFL teams saw that, which they did, and didn't think, wow, Cam Ward is considerably better than Shedeur Sanders in every way imaginable. That stood out to me when I watched it. And I think you couple that with, the fact that he played at Colorado, didn't play the best competition. When he didn't play well. Like, those are the things that stand out to me more than all the other stuff. Because listen, if a guy can truly play, if you think he is the franchise, especially for a team like the Cleveland Browns, if you think the dude could come in and truly turn you around, you're going to use your number 3 pick or whatever they ended up 5th, whatever it takes to get that guy. And that didn't happen. Let him fall all the way to the 5th. Took Dylan Gabriel in front of him. I'm not super shocked by the slide. I am a little surprised he fell to the 5th, but I'll be curious to see what happens now. That they've got 5 guys in that room, obviously probably 4 with Deshaun not playing, but what a story all the way around. It's created a super villain in Shedeur Sanders for some and a superhero in Shedeur Sanders for others. So this is a really, really unique story.
Yeah, and you look at Cleveland. So I'm curious, I think Jim Haslam, the owner, demanded they take him. Is what I think happened, because they already had taken Gabriel, and I feel like it was like 5th round, like he was just like, I guess, money and interest and everything that comes with getting him. I felt like the GM and coach didn't even want him when you looked at the room.
I think you're probably right on a lot of that. And, at some point it's like, hey, this guy's still sitting here. We don't see another potential game changer sitting here in the fifth round. I think there's all of that kind of coupled into one, because you're not really getting starters in the fifth. I mean, unless you're insanely good and you find a gem in the rough or whatever. But I don't know. I think you're probably a little bit correct about that.
No, that's what it kind of felt like. So the quarterback room for Cleveland, just a reminder, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and Watson. Watson re-injured his Achilles. He's done. But I think Flacco's like 3-1 to start week one. I mean, I would probably lean there. I mean, I think he was just, he just got him to the playoffs in that crazy run last year. The thing with Flacco, I don't know how you can think he can stay healthy a whole year. But when you look at that room, you got to think you go with the veteran at least to start.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think Kenny Pickett is the considerable favorite. He was like minus 200, minus 160 or something, if I'm not mistaken, to be the starter on opening day. So, or, first week of the season. So I think Kenny Pickett has a leg up right now. And man, this will be so interesting. Like, what if Dylan Gabriel beats out Shedeur Sanders? Like, they're very similar quarterbacks, actually. They both don't have strong arms. They're not the biggest guys.
Gabriel's a touch more mobile, I think.
He's a little bit more mobile, but I don't think but he's smaller. You know what I mean? It's like there's a trade-off there. But, like, I think as far as actual skill set when it comes to arm talent in particular, like, they're very, very similar. But let's imagine that Dylan Gabriel, when they had these meetings, was more prepared, did better in the meetings, seemed more like the guy. You would take him ahead of Shedeur Sanders as far as the arm talent's concerned. So, I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out once they get to camp. But this is – I hope, I pray that the NFL gives the Browns hard knocks. I don't know if they've picked a team yet, but man, that will be cinema.
Yeah, and so Shedeur threw like 100K. You see through that party Saturday night in Dallas.
50 thou wow, 60 thou wow, 70 thou wow. Yeah, that's Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, I saw the parties. Look, Shedeur has been himself, and I'll give him credit for that, man. He has not wavered in the slightest as far as who he is. He's, stood on business as far as that's concerned. But as far as NFL teams are concerned, they don't necessarily like that from their starting quarterback. So I do think some of that hurt him. I think the way he, was a little brash with, just his personality, it hurt him with NFL teams. But he is who he is, and that's either going to hurt him or help him in the long run.
Yeah, well, it's going to be certainly something to follow. A lot of other we did a show Friday and broke down the first round, but I just want to some other stuff. The Saints did end up taking Tyler Shugg, 40th overall, like everybody thought they would. I'm all over the map on this. He's the highest ranked Saints draft quarterback since Archie Manning in 1970, which is one of the craziest stats I've ever seen because that's 55 years later. It's the first time the Saints have taken a quarterback in the high second round or first round. But they did take him. It's going to be him and Rattler. I don't think Carr comes back. I still don't. I have no idea if he's going to be good. I've been like back and forth on it. Like, yeah, he may be the most pro-ready. He can make throws. He does a good job avoiding sacks, but he does turn it out. I don't know, man. I have a heart. I kind of think it's one of those things where hopefully he's good, but if he's not, then he's helping the Saints get Arch Manning in a couple of years.
There's also the possibility that you got to steal in the draft because he couldn't stay healthy in college, right? And so, there's less tape on him than a lot of the guys, especially someone his age. You should have a lot more tape on a dude his age. But he was always hurt, bounced around from situation to situation. So you either got a steal in the draft because of his injuries in college, or you got Derek Carr 2.0, which I think is probably the more likely of the two. I think the Saints messed up. I think they wanted Jackson Dart, and I think they were scared to pull the trigger. They thought maybe he would slip a little bit, and I think that's what happened. Who knows if that is what happened? But I think the Saints wanted Jackson Dart. They screwed up, didn't take him early enough, and they end up with Tyler Shugg.
Yeah, my sources that usually are right said that Shugg was their guy going in. So I mean, I wasn't totally shocked. I will give Mickey Loomis credit. The first ever draft, he didn't trade up at all. They finally look like they're committing to the rebuild. Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle, first round. They got depth on the defensive line with Brogdon, the Texas defensive tackle, playmaker at linebacker, Danny Stutzman. You address the secondary with an all-ACC safety and Jonas Sanker, Quincy Riley from Louisville. Really high, I don't know a lot about him, but really high grade corner. Did not get a wide receiver. Supposedly, they were about to take a receiver like 4 different times in the draft, and the receivers went in front of them. So the Olave, Shaheed, Brandon Cooks receiving core, get ready to throw to a lot of 5'10" guys. I mean,
yeah, the Saints do not have that big body red zone threat whatsoever. I mean, I can't wait to see this all play out because there's a chance though that y'all got to steal. I'm holding out hope for the New Orleans Saints that they actually got a guy because whenever you see some of his tape, man, he made some really good throws at Louisville. Like he's got one of the stronger arms in this class. Arm slot's a little weird at times, but that can be a benefit. You know what I mean? Some guys that can drop down and throw it sidearm a little bit like that's not a bad thing. But I think it worries me that he could be inconsistent as far as his accuracy is concerned.
Yeah, some other NFL draft. I want to touch on the quarterbacks and then touch on some teams and stuff. Jalen Milroe goes to Seattle. Going to be the backup there to Darnold. Good fit. You don't expect him to start. I think he's going to be, if Darnold goes down, he could be like a serviceable backup and make plays. Go ahead.
Oh, I think he's a guy that also you could put together packages for, right? Like Darnold, no mobility whatsoever. But, I mean, they're essentially 2 completely different quarterbacks on each end of the spectrum. And so I think this is a spot where you could have packages where you take Darnold out, especially some red zone stuff. Maybe you need a run on 2nd and 3. You want to run some read options, whatever. Like, I think there's definitely some room there for this to work out.
Yeah. Some other ones worth mentioning, like we said, Gabriel and Shador both go to Cleveland. There were some other late round. I mean, Kyle McCord ended up in Philly 6th round, which is fun because he's from there. He could be a back. I feel like he could stick in the league as a backup for a while. Man, Quinn Ewers falling all the way to the 7th round to Miami. Man, I want to say something about that. I'm not surprised he went 7th round. How did Texas start him over Arch last year? I mean, you started a 7th round pick over Arch Manning. And I know it was like trust the process and that was the plan and all that. But, like, come on, man. And, I mean, I know they made a run in the playoffs, but, like, I don't know. I look back on that. That's kind of an all-time surprise brain fart.
Yeah, I think the Georgia game really hurt Quinn Ewers because I know he ended up getting hurt or something, but, like, he did not play well whenever he was in there. And same thing can be said for Arch. He didn't play very well against them either. I think I really evaluate games like that as far as how a quarterback's going to handle NFL talent. A defense like Georgia, what they threw out there, like for me, those are great evaluation games, and Ewers didn't look great in those games.
The one sneaky move, he went 7th round too, but shout out Curtis Roark for the Indiana quarterback who got Indiana to the playoffs, played all year last year with a torn ACL. I mean, that's insane. Got him to the playoffs. It came out after. I was glad to see him get drafted. He's had a crazy journey from Ohio, had a bunch of injuries, ended up in Indiana, got him to the playoffs, which nobody could believe, did it with a torn ACL, and he landed with Kyle Shanahan. So he probably landed in the best spot he possibly could there. And so I was just real happy for him because I just think he deserves that after his journey. Some other, lot of notables touch on. Big day, Ole Miss had I believe 8 players get drafted, school record.
Yep.
I think they were like the 5th most. I believe Jordan Watkins went to the Niners. I thought that was great. I could see him being a number 3 or 4 receiver in a Shanahan offense, and he also plays special teams. I thought that was a good fit. J.J. Pegues went to the Raiders, defensive tackle. Happy for him. 5th round. Chris Paul, stud linebacker, went to the Rams, 5th round. I bet he's an NFL starter for 5-7 years. I thought that was a super good fit. And the Rams are so known for getting that late round draft value, almost more than any other team. Trey Harris, Chargers, like that. Trey Harris and Ladd McConkey catching passes from Herbert. Thought that was, a lot of people were mad they took a Marion Hampton over Matthew Golden 1st round, but they still end up getting Trey Harris 2nd round. And, talk about getting Herbert some help. You get Marion Hampton, they brought in Najee Harris. They beefed up the line last year, and now, other than Ladd McConkey, the rest of the receiving core was just a disaster last year. And if Harris can step into that number 2 role with McConkey, look out, dude. Chargers look like they're coming.
Yeah, we've said that a lot of times about the Chargers, though.
Yeah, but Harbaugh, it's a different culture, though, man.
That's true. I don't disagree with you there whatsoever. I like what they did in the draft. I thought they had a very good, solid draft. We keep hearing this with them year after year. I need to see it to believe it. I am a Justin Herbert believer, but I need to see it, man. But it's a good draft, especially for getting him weapons.
Denver Broncos, one pick I think has got to be noted because you're a fantasy guy, and we obviously have the FFF pod. The R.J. Harvey pick, late second. Dude, he may be the guy in Denver. The only other guy on the team is Audrey Esteen, the smaller guy who averaged like 6 carries a game. Javonte Williams is in Dallas. I mean, Harvey could be the guy in this offense. And, Denver drafted Barron first round, the stud corner from Texas who shut down Jeremiah Smith. Man, they got him with Patrick Surtain at corner. I mean, I know you're a Bo Nix guy and a Sean Payton guy, dude. This team's coming.
Yeah, they're definitely
that division,
coming.
Man. Chiefs, Broncos, and Chargers. That's a brutal division.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it should be very good for years to come, assuming that Bo Nix continues his trend. And I don't know. Sean Payton's one of those guys I trust that he's gonna pick dudes that fit what he wants to do. And he did not like his running backs last year. I mean, he would sit Javonte Williams all the time because Williams would miss a block or do something incorrect. And you could just tell Sean Payton was really over his running backs that he had last year. So he gets a guy that's going to be his dude. Estimate, he's definitely not a 3-down back.
No, I think he's a good change of pace number 2. I thought he showed some. He had some burst.
No doubt. He's a guy that could catch the ball to the backfield and make some plays, but he's not a 3-down workhorse by any means. So this has definitely opened up the door here for the new draft pick.
Yeah, for sure. The Chiefs just went all on a scrimmage, which is smart. They did make a couple of picks I like, though, because we're deep diving draft here. They took that Utah State receiver 4th round who runs like a 4.3. Royals, I believe his name. But the Chiefs always like taking like a big play project. But then 7th round, dude, they got Brashard Smith, running back from SMU, who's the Chiefs, we've seen them have good 3rd down backs at the backfield. He's a former receiver. Man, I love that pick. It's like their 3rd down back, is like their Jerick McKinnon style guy. I feel like he'll be useful for them.
There are teams that when they draft, you just say, oh, that's probably a good pick. The Eagles, the Chiefs, like it doesn't really matter who they draft. You assume that they
Ravens too.
Ravens, yeah, the Ravens got to put them in there for sure. Completely agree with that as well. They're just teams, they get it. Their scouting department is good. They don't take unnecessary risks. They get guys that are going to help them immediately, and then they always get them one project piece that they usually end up turning into an NFL product. So the Chiefs at it once again, just no shocker that they had another very solid draft.
Yeah, running through it, AFC North, the Ravens got Mike Green from Marshall, 2nd round, 17 sacks last year, one of the leaders in the country, the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year. Right when they took him, I'm like, oh, that's fitting. Born to be a Raven. But they got him, and they got Malachi Starks, late 1st round, the safety, and I guess can play nickel. Could play corner against bigger receivers, but not smaller. But the Ravens obviously doing what they do. Caleb Johnson, the Iowa stud running back, who's like a bigger guy. He's kind of like a Najee clone. 3rd round pick by the Steelers. Plug him in as your big back. They also have Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, so they're kind of fixing it. The Steelers thing, got to think it's going to be Rodgers, right? I mean, got to think it. They got Mason Rudolph. They draft Will Howard 6th round. I think your you got your number 2 in Rudolph. You got your developmental guy in Howard, but just feels like it's, the Vikings traded for Sam Howell during the draft, which makes me think they're going to go with McCarthy and Howell. I mean, I know we're still waiting, but it certainly, you would think that Rodgers is going to Pittsburgh.
And I think it makes sense, right? You have such a quarterback-rich draft class next year. You'd rather have a stopgap guy. You take Will Howard here, and if he ends up, growing into that dude, like if you see him in practice this year and he looks like the guy, maybe that'll change your plans for next year. But it's Rodgers for 1 year. If it doesn't work out, you got a high draft pick to make a run at a quarterback. If it does work out, maybe you run it back with Rodgers. You know what I mean? So I think Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh makes sense just for many, many reasons, especially now.
Yeah, and him and Tomlin have a good relationship. They just gave DK $150 million. If they have him and Pickens, I mean, I don't know. I want to see it. I just want to see it for the entertainment. I'd like to see Rodgers make one more playoff run. AFC East-wise, touch on New England. Will Campbell, obviously 4th overall. But, man, the Pats, I love everything they're doing with this rebuild. I love Vrabel. I like the culture. I think Drake May's good. They took Kyle Williams, the receiver from Washington State, who's kind of a speed threat to stretch the field. You got him. They brought Stephon Diggs over, who I think can still, it may not be what he was, but I still think he can work the middle, be a reliable number 1 target. You got Will Campbell, he's going to be a franchise left tackle. you got to have faith in Vrabel running any defense. They brought Milton Williams over from Philly. He's going to be a stud D tackle. They've got, the Oregon guy, the stud. They've got the stud corner already. I mean, I'm not saying New England's a playoff team next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get to like 7 wins and you're seeing them getting ready to build something.
Yeah, and I love the Travion Henderson pick. I really couldn't believe that he fell to 38. I mean, just an all-around back, do it all, blocks out of the backfield.
Catches the ball.
Catches the ball. I mean, you can do a little bit of everything with him. Like, he's a dude, and he's going to make their running back room that much better. Will Campbell, stud, superstar mindset too, but like humble about it. Like, man, talk about a dude that I want on my team. Will Campbell. I think the Patriots are building a culture right now, and Will Campbell and Travion Henderson, they fit those just hard-nosed ball players, and you really got to like what the Patriots did here.
Yeah, man, I agree. And then looking around the rest of their Bills kind of loaded up. They took a corner first round of Maxwell Hairston. They kind of loaded up defensively. Not surprised there because they kind of needed to re-beef up that defense. Their run defense especially has been bad. They took a guy I really like, though, Moody, 4th round, Deion Walker, D-tackle out of Kentucky. He beat Ole Miss, dude. That Kentucky-Ole Miss game, that was such a disaster. Ole Miss couldn't block him. He got hurt toward the end of the year, but he's like 6'6", 305, athletic freak. That was like a notable pick, I thought, late. I don't really know what's, the Miami thing, I'm not totally sure what's going on. I mean, Quinn Ewers, they just can't get this backup quarterback thing right, dude. I mean, they just can't. They going to last year with Skylar Thompson. Now, I don't know. I don't know what's going on necessarily on that front at all. The Jets, Garrett Wilson must be getting a lot of targets this year. They obviously paid him and Sauce, but they didn't really replace Devontae Adams. They took Arian Smith, 4th round out of Georgia, which I don't know, man. That Liam Blutman was going nuts about that pick. He's like, how the hell are they doing this? Dude couldn't catch a cold last year. I mean, he's like big and he's fast, but like those Georgia receivers last year, I mean, if you watch that passing game, it was pretty miserable. So I'm curious though. Fields and Garrett Wilson played together in college, so maybe they get that connection going again. I don't know. I'm not really sure what to think on that front. NFC East, obviously Giants talked about a ton. You got a premier pass rusher we thought was the number 1 pick in the draft in Abdul Carter. You got Jackson Dart, your quarterback of the future. Beefing up the lines. I mean, I think, considering how bad the culture was around the Giants a few months ago, you got to be excited, I would think.
Yeah, and they got Cam Scatabo. We'll see how that turns out, obviously, if he has the kind of success in the NFL he did in college. But you got to feel like the Giants had a good draft. They didn't take any unnecessary risks. I know Dart obviously is a little bit of a question mark at the NFL level, but outside of that, I feel like the Giants had a pretty good draft. They now have a franchise star that they can build around on that defense, along with Kayvon Thibodeau, who they took 2 years ago now. So
yeah,
I mean, this is I think the Giants, even though it hasn't looked good in the past, I think they're headed in the right direction.
I agree. And then looking around there, the Cowboys thing, I will say they got him late. But I love them taking Jaden Blue 5th round because he can fly, and he's unbelievable catching the ball out the backfield. I think that's going to be a sneaky, real valuable, good pick for them. They took Phil Maffa 7th round, but like the Cowboys running core, I mean, you got Javonte Williams. I mean, it's a mess because Dowdle left to go to Carolina. You got, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that'll be interesting, worth noting, because I think that running back situation's wide open in Dallas. I'm just not a Javonte Williams believer. I don't think them bringing him in is going to work out.
No, probably not, but it'll do enough to muddy up the Cowboys' backfield the way that Javonte Williams does with other backfields, or at least like he did in Denver. I thought the Cowboys had a decent draft. The Cowboys are another team that usually
they draft
pretty
well
in the draft. They draft well. As much crap as we give Jerry, they do a pretty damn good job in the draft. So
I like the BC The BC pass rusher 2nd round was super productive in Louisville. I mean, in the ACC.
Yeah. And I like Tyler Booker too. I liked his mindset. I went and actually saw some videos, on him just talking about meditation, the way he gets in the game and stuff. He's a dude that truly loves the game. You know what I mean? I don't know if you saw the clip of him and Micah Parsons, but he gave just an all-time quote. Like, it was a really, really good one. So he's definitely got the mindset to come in and be an anchor for the Cowboys on that offensive line. So, solid draft, very Cowboys draft.
Yeah, well, interesting stuff. Then run around there. We touched on the Saints. The Falcons went super, they traded up for James Pierce. They got 2 pass rushers and Jalen Walker and Pierce. They're trying to fix the pass rush and the defense, which makes sense because the defense has been a mess. Carolina, I feel like Carolina's sneaky getting better. Bryce Young obviously played well down the stretch last year, but thought they made some, they're trying to fortify. Their run defense was, worse than the NFL last year. I thought they made some moves on that front that made a lot of sense. Tampa, did you see Tampa knows what they're doing, man. They got the Ohio State receiver first round, Ben Morrison from Notre Dame, the corner second round. He was hurt a lot last year. He was really good, but I feel like Tampa is just easily the top organization in the NFC South. They've won 4 in a row. And then NFC West-wise, I'm curious. I think the Rams may make a run this year. I know you're a big Rams guy, but I love the Devontae Adams move. They got the stud young defensive lineman and Fisk and Verse. I like them taking Paul, like I said. I don't know. I think the Rams, this could be a year where they're sneaky NFC champion, possibly.
It's funny you say that because I was already thinking I'm going to get a little future on the Rams to win the Super Bowl. Just like one last hurrah for Matthew Stafford, all-time quarterback, one of the gutsiest dudes to have ever played the game. I'm so happy he already got him 1 ring. But, look, they gave Philadelphia all the Eagles wanted. I mean, the Rams are there. I don't think they're going anywhere because you have that foundation in Matthew Stafford. As long as he stays healthy. Now, he's a dude that'll play through injury, but he does pick them up because he's willing to hold the ball and take hits. But, man, I like what the Rams have done. They're trying to put the pieces around him for one final run. Damn, I hope it happens. He's probably got a couple years left in him if he wants to.
I think he sounded like this year because remember he tested the market and they re-signed him. He's going to decide this year, but I feel like it's 2 more is what I think. That was the vibe I got. I saw McVay got interviewed and talked about it, and it kind of seemed like they're committing to 2 more.
Yeah, he's probably got 2 more for sure. He could play for a few more years, but you can see he's also that thought of retirement is in his mind. So I'm curious to see. But when he's out there, he's going to compete his ass off. Like he is that dude. I don't know if anybody competes better in the NFL than Matthew Stafford does. So happy for him. Hope he does win the division and make another run.
Yeah, would certainly love to see it. But man, just love the NFL draft. Just and I have a weird take. I enjoyed watching day 2 more than day 1 because the first day is so long and so drawn out in the first round, but it's just constant action after that. But, dude, I managed to watch, I made myself Saturday. I watched it from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday because, as a fantasy guy, it's, so important to just, stuff that information in your brain. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to watch this the whole way through, make sure I know who's where, know the personnel. But I enjoyed it, man. I really did.
I wanted to talk about one more player that I thought was one of the best picks in the entire draft, Luther Burden III. To the Chicago Bears. Every time, and I didn't watch a ton of games, but every time I watched Missouri play, and they got the ball to Luther Burden, I just said, that's an NFL dude. That is an NFL talent. Every time I watched him play. And I thought that the Bears got a steal in the second round with him, pair him with Loveland, more weapons for Caleb Williams. There are 0, and I mean 0 excuses for Caleb Williams this year. I'm still not quite the believer, but he has got a legitimate play caller now and Ben Johnson. He's got all the weapons you could ask for. They didn't really address the O-line too much, which is a little bit.
Well, they did, but they brought in a bunch of free agents.
Okay. Well,
they did a lot. They didn't as much in the draft, but they went pretty hard bringing in guys. Okay. That was kind of where they spent their money in free agency.
Okay, gotcha. That's my big concern for them. Man, there's no excuses for Caleb Williams now. I don't want to hear it from. I got a Bears buddy in particular that I've been giving him crap about Caleb Williams because I'm not a believer. I don't see it. But he's got every weapon imaginable now, and I think Luther Burden III is going to step in and maybe be the damn best receiver on that team. I know that sounds crazy to say right now, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think when you look at it, you got DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, Loveland and Kmet at tight end. You still got, you got Swift running the ball. You dress the O-line. There's no excuse. And it kind of reminds me of what happened Trevor Lawrence's rookie year with Meyer. It was like his second year. It was almost like his rookie year. That's kind of what this feels like with Caleb. Like he just had you almost got to just throw out the first year and see what happens. But the Loveland pick, there's a lot of talk of them taking him over Warren, but you got to trust Ben Johnson with the tight ends, man. And Loveland's a better red zone target. And you look at what Laporta did in Detroit and T.J. Hawkinson did in Detroit. I mean, you got to feel like the dude knows what he's doing, So I don't think I was a Bears fan. I'd be like mad about that or anything.
No, I wouldn't either. Look, you two tight end sets. If they want to run two tight end sets, run the football a little bit more, a little bit better, more efficiently, I should say. That's you're going to want to run some two tight end sets. You know what I mean? Some play action off of that. So I like what the Bears did. I thought it was a good draft. I think their draft kind of tailed off after the first couple rounds. Because this is not a team that usually drafts well. That is one thing about Chicago. They normally don't do a very good job in the draft. So we'll see how, if they found any gems later in the draft. But I like what they did the first couple rounds. Well,
as always, follow Moody on Twitter. He's firing the home run parlays. So last few days you got real hot and hit that bomb last week. I saw you've been doing your picks, and the home runs have tailed off a little bit lately.
Homer, yeah, I just had a bad day yesterday. I love the board. Crazy thing about it, I looked at the board and I said, "Oh, we're gonna just kick their ass today," and instead I got my ass kicked yesterday. It's going to be like that sometimes. It's a volatile market to play home run props. The thing is, my picks have been so consistent that even whenever I had a bad day with the home run props, I was making up for it with good picks. My picks were bad yesterday. I only hit a few home runs. It was not a great day for me yesterday, but that's going to happen. And I just got
long season. You're way up. Season. You're way up.
I'm up
so
like
far.
50 units, like plus 50 units. So you can't. There's nothing to be mad about through a month of play. Nothing to be mad about.
No, loving it. And it's follow Moody at Moody Mac TV on Twitter. It's a lot of fun to follow. But like I said, reminder on the Barstool stuff after the act today. We've got Werewolf with Stool Streams. Will be fun. Tate with the big After Dark stream with Beef tonight. That ought to be a big time. I'm looking forward to this Derby week, watching the Kentucky Derby up at the DraftKings Wrigleyville Sports Zone on Saturday. I'm actually going to deposit on the DK horse. They've got a really good horse app and promotion. So I'm going to do that this week, and you should too. Man, just as always, rolls on at the stool. Excited. Last thing I want to touch on. When are the White Sox calling up Tim Elko? He's hitting 370 with 7 homers in AAA already.
He is crushing the ball. I went and looked. He's barreling it up a pretty good percentage of the time too. Like it was like 24th, I think, overall ranking in the minor leagues as far as how well he's barreling the ball. That's one thing I like to look at. Tim Elko, it looks legitimate. What he's doing right now in AAA he's done what he can do. The White Sox suck. Andrew Vaughn is hitting like 150. I mean, I realize that he's like supposed to be part of their future and everything, but damn, he sure doesn't look like it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tim Elko a couple months from now. I still think that the White Sox just don't care about winning, and so they're going to give him a taste. I just don't think it'll be for a little while.
What's the rule about when they need to come up to not lose that first year on the contract thing?
Well, we've passed that. We have. Now the only thing would be if he came up and then he won the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, but
which I don't think that's going to happen with the way Christian Campbell's playing right now. So I think we'll probably see him in June would be my guess. I think probably somewhere in June would be what I would think.
All right. Well, I'm just like I said, I've been hyping it up for years. I love Tim, friends with him. Won the Ole Miss legend with a statue, won the national title in 2022, and gonna just be hitting up White Sox games, and that's just gonna be a fun storyline this next couple of years. And so I'm ready to see him up. Well, cool, man. Well, always a pleasure catching up with Moody this morning. Thanks to Dude Wipes. Find them at Amazon, Target, Walmart, all over the World Wide Web. Gonna pound some Stella Blue coffees. Enjoy this good weather. Let's have a day, boys. Join us for Werewolf right after the Yak on Stool Streams.